Welcome back, everyone, to 40k Rants with Ludus Infinium, and today I'm going to start a preemptive series as to a video that I do want to do, or maybe even a video series I want to do on if the Horus Heresy were flipped as far as the loyalists and traitors are concerned. And today we're going to start with the Slaanesh pick. This is a pick that I have always stood behind as to who Slaanesh would get as far as the loyalists. So let's get into it, shall we? So there he was, over the planet Lair, polishing his Primarch battle plate. Knowing the perfection in his plan, knowing he went into every possible detail, knowing that there was nothing that he could have missed, knowing that no matter what the Laren could throw at him, he had a contingency plan for every single thing. He managed to plan if there was a secret ambush, if there were reinforcements from a neighboring planet. He planned for really absolutely everything. And that has always been his trait. As he stands up and looks out the viewport, down towards the planet, wondering if an invasion is really a good idea, or just to honestly bomb the planet, he remembers the insult that the Lair threw at him, and his legion. He looks back at his first captain. Ready the troops for an invasion. And it was at that moment that Rabute Gilliman had sealed his fate. Yes, folks, that is the intro to what essentially I'm going to do is take all the loyal Primarchs and put them in the traitor Primarch shoes, or at least to the point of what was essentially their turning points. And yeah, we're going to have Gilliman take on the Lair. Now, here's where I think there would be some differences, and here's where I think there would be some similarities. Number one, as far as differences are concerned, I think the Lair would stand even less of a chance. There are a lot more Ultramarines than there are Emperor's Children. I mean, a lot more. So that would be kind of devastating, especially if he had the majority of his Legion. And assuming he would take the insult about as well as Fulgrim did, he would probably call in the majority of his Legion. And, yeah. So, now we have Gilliman attacking Lair. One of the similarities is that he comes across the Lair Blade. If it works the way I understand, the way it worked on Fulgrim, this blade can actually change its form to look appealing to its user. I think it would absolutely be able to work on Gilliman. It worked on Fulgrim. I don't see why it wouldn't. And then, as far as the Lair Temple with the weird cultist snake orgy thing going on, it would be burned to the ground after he got the Lair Blade. Hopefully after cleaning it off, but you know, hey, details. So, yeah, I think Gilliman would get his hands on the Lair Blade and then would be corrupted by it the same way Fulgrim was. However, I don't think his corruption would necessarily be all the same. I think where Fulgrim was driven insane due to his need for perfection, I believe that Gilliman would be driven insane through overanalyzation. He would literally come up with a plan. He would do the Codex Astartes to the 10th level. He would obsessively plan for everything, which is kind of what he did for the Codex Astartes, but he would go to the point of obsessing over it, and to the point where he would always strive for the perfect plan, for being able to, how do I word this? He would also want a plethora of plans. You know, for every one action, have 10 things that you can do to combat that one action. So we can kind of see how, and what was funny is originally Slaanesh was one of the hardest Chaos Gods for me to pick a Loyalist Force for. Now it's actually one of the easier ones where I just go, Ultramarines. Their sheer devotion to the Codex Astartes, or what it would become, even though it wasn't written at this point. Plus, here's an interesting little fact for you. There are a few chapters in Modern 40k that when they have a battle brother accepted into the Death Watch, they throw a party. I mean, a party by Astartes standards. One of the ones that's most well known for this is the Ultramarines. So, if we can take that mindset of where they're given this great honor and they celebrate it, not many Astartes have been known to do that. There's not really an air of celebration. There's actually, for the most part, an air of humility. A good example of this canonically would be Nathaniel Garrow of the Death Guard. He takes everything kind of stoically. He, when he gets an honor, he's like, okay, I will take this and I will do it. He doesn't make a big deal of it. An interesting example of this that I think I can kind of work around this is Garviel Loken. When he is, introduced into the Mournival, there was kind of like a little celebration, but it wasn't like, it wasn't a company-wide thing. It was just him and the 3 other members of the Mournival. And that was because it was the ceremony to induct a new member of the Mournival. That being said, when it comes to, the Death Watch, as I said in Modern 40k, the entire squad, or potentially even the entire company, will be there for this party. So there's a little bit of a door open for the debauchery and hedonism part of Slaanesh. There's definitely an excess entry for, again, through the Codex Astartes, having multiple plans for attack. And then just seeing Rabute Gilliman turn Slaaneshi demon would also be hilarious for me, because that would probably be the coolest thing to ever happen to him. And even though it's non-canon, it would actually be the coolest thing ever to happen to Rabute Gilliman. I mean, the motherfucker got stabbed by Fulgrim and brought back to life by his Eldar booty call. And let's just be honest about that. That him turning into a Chaos Primarch for Slaanesh would be much cooler. And also another cool connection I didn't make till just now, honestly, is also the fact that canonically the Eldar do have a hand in bringing Gilliman back. For him to turn to a Slaaneshi demon and hunt Eldar would be hilarious for me. It's like, thank you, now I'm going to really, really make you sad. So it really does come down to, for me, other picks for Slaanesh. You could make a couple of arguments, but I don't really see any good ones outside of maybe the Space Wolves, but that's also more because I think they're meme worthy and because I know they're only one of two legions in current 40k that actually use their reproductive systems. The other one is a traitor legion, being the Emperor's Children. So you got realistically the Space Wolves, but that's a really well, that and the debauchery. But the Space Wolves are needed elsewhere. They fit somewhere else a little bit better. And I'm trying to think of other loyal legions. Dark Angels wouldn't work. I actually know a better place for them. Blood Angels have a different place. White Scars would definitely be in a different place. Imperial Fists would be somewhere else. I can't think of anyone else who could go to Slaanesh. I really can't. It's like, let me pull up the list really quickly so you will hear the clicking. Because I really can't think of who would... Original Legion name. Okay, there we go. So we got the Dark Angels. No. We got the White Scars. No. We got the Space Wolves. No. Imperial Fist. No. Blood Angels. No. Iron Hands. No. Actually, I do know an interesting place to put them. They would compete with the Imperial Fists for where I have an idea for them. The Salamanders. No. Korax. No. I mean, that's really it. So yeah, the only two I could honestly give to Slaanesh would be either the Space Wolves or the Ultramarines. And the logic behind the Ultramarines is the excessive planning, the limited examples of debauchery, and the fact that the corruption could hit any of the Primarchs. All of them have chinks in their armor. The way that I believe the demon would find the chink in Gilliman's armor would be, again, not to make him obsess over being perfect, but to make him obsess over his planning and draw out in excess of it and just make him almost get to a point of schizophrenia almost, maybe, to where you have these, you don't really know what mentality he's in anymore because of how much he just flat out obsesses over the planning. That being said, again, you have the Space Wolves, who are the only legion to, the only loyal legion to be known to actually use their reproductive system, and they do have a history of throwing really grand parties. So there's that. But again, they fit somewhere else so much better. And honestly, so to give you an idea, the place that I'm planning on putting them, I'm actually between them and the White Scars. The third place, I'm between the Raven Guard and the Dark Angels. The fourth place between the Iron Hands and the Imperial Fists. And then in the last place, the Blood Angels by themselves. That is a place where I know the Blood Angels belong, and that is where they will fucking stay. Um, that being said, the Ultramarines just going complete Slaanesh would be absolutely amazing. It would. Seeing like some of the corruption that happens to the Emperor's Children, where you get the Noise Marines and and quite frankly, I don't want to word it this way, but the tentacles. Imagine instead of like the insanity of what the Emperor's Children became and their strive for perfection and always trying to one up everyone. But imagine cohesive units of that. Imagine these cohesive units of Noise Marines and of like Tentacle Marines. I don't really know what to call them anymore. So we'll call them Tentacle Marines. um So yeah, that's honestly a very scary thought now that I think about it. But yeah. So how do I think the Ultramarines would fare as the Slaaneshi Legion compared to the Emperor's Children? Well, there are a hell of a lot more Ultramarines. The Emperor's Children ended up getting pretty badly fractured. But I do think the Ultramarines would be able to stick tighter together, mostly because of the influence of Gilliman, and I do believe the corruption would be different. Or at least the entry into the corruption would be different. Now, could it have the same end product? Absolutely. But I think the way you get to them, being the obsessing over the planning, I think that would have a lot to do to make them more of a cohesive traitor legion than the Emperor's Children ever was. So, as far as this theoretical heresy, which I will name it after these 5 videos are done, I do think that the Ultramarines would have a greater impact for the side of the traitors than the Emperor's Children did of the canonical traitors. I think the overwhelming amount of numbers plus there's more unit cohesion would just make an absolute difference. But that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this big what if video and a little sneak peek in the next video. I will be talking about their counterparts, which will be the White Scars and the Space Wolves, and the Chaos God I believe they should go to. It should be pretty obvious at this point who I think who I have them kind of split between. But, yeah. It should be kind of obvious where I have the different groups split up. So, actually, I just thought of another funny place to put the Space Wolves now that I think about it. And the White Scars, honestly, they could both work for that Chaos guy as well. But yeah, so next week, if I don't do the Jagatai Khan video, look for the second Chaos God in the What If Heresy, we will call it, for right now. That being said, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!